Are you a kettlebell beginner and you're looking for a great place to start? I got something for you. Check the first link in the description. It leads to our free kettlebell workout course that'll serve you 30 days filled with kettlebell workouts. Click the link, sign up, and enjoy. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe Stark here. This session is an excerpt from our Friday live sessions where we hang out with subscribers, share tutorials, talk about kettlebells, have Q&As, so on and so forth. Make sure the next time we are live that you're tuning in. In this masterclass, I was covering a follow-along seminar where I was teaching how to learn the Snatch and the Turkish Get Up. We go into intricate detail, and I believe that this will serve you a lot of value. So roll the video. How to learn the Snatch and the Turkish Get Up, and how you can use a proven, tested, and tried strategy to learn the Snatch and the Turkish Get Up. In order, because there's a why. Why are we doing this? In order to save time without trying to figure it out by yourself. What we are going to do right now, we want to learn the Snatch and the Get Up. So there's three things that we're about to do. First of all, I'm going to prove to you that you can learn this. There's a simple concept that I want you to grasp. Number two, we are going to unlearn stuff that is wasting your time. And number three, I want to give you, a matter of fact, you are going to learn a specific strategy so you can learn and memorize and perfect the Snatch as well as the Turkish Get Up right now. And this concept that I'm about to share with you has been inspired by one of our members and clients. His name is Sean. And he recently asked me this question. He said, simplified, what program did you do to get where you are? What program do you follow to reach this type of expertise or level, however you want to call it, when it comes to kettlebell training? I always use the same three fundamental core concepts. Step number one, I want to learn the fundamentals. I want to learn the theoretical basis of the particular exercise in question. Number two, I want to put in the reps. And if you ask me right now, how many reps do I have to put in? My answer will be all of them. Here comes step number three. I don't get distracted. Because if we get distracted, this is going to rob us of process, of progress, and the process. We don't trust the process, therefore we get distracted, therefore we don't see progress. Seriously, it's always the same three steps. We do step number one to understand the basic principle of the exercise in question. If I don't understand it, how am I supposed to learn it? And step number two is, as soon as I have gained the knowledge and the understanding, I have to apply it by executing it. Knowledge is power. And while this is true, I'd like to extend this statement by one little verb, and that is applied knowledge is power. Just knowing stuff is one thing, but applying the knowledge and then getting the results out of it, this is where true power lies. Step number three, you rinse and repeat the same process because repetition is the mother of expertise / perfection. So here comes the unlearning. What I'm about to share with you right now are 4 myths that surround the Snatch and the Get Up. But maybe you can extend these myths to other exercises as well, not just limited to the realm of kettlebells. Number one, the Snatch destroys my wrist and my palm skin. This is only half true. It does destroy your wrist if you are using maybe a cast iron kettlebell. We have heard feedback from some of our subscribers who say, when I've switched to the competition kettlebell, this is when I realized, wow, now there's no slamming going on. But still you have people who've mastered it with the cast iron, and I was snatching with the cast iron as well, and I wasn't slamming my wrist. So there's a particular important aspect that I'm going to share right now, which you will learn in order to make this go away. And destroying your palm skin, I mean, this is a kettlebell hand. I hope you can see it clearly. And yes, I do have calluses, but I I can't remember the last time I really had some slashed open gashes, bloody gashes on my palm skin, because it's all about developing the proper technique. Myth number 2, the get up is only reserved for heavyweights, and then the other camp says the get up is only reserved for light weights. I believe the get up is reserved for light, moderate, and heavy weights. You can do the get up with each and every weight you want to, if you have mastered proper technique. Are there some diminishing returns if you go very high? Probably. The question is what your goal is, but it's most definitely achievable. And maybe you want to set a PR and you're just having fun with the exercise. And hey, using heavier weight still means that your body has to work a little bit harder. Doing the get up with fairly light weights can still be a challenge, especially for people who are just starting out. The next myth is both exercises are prone to injury. And here, I want to make it very clear. So both exercises are prone to injury, or you are prone to injury if you don't understand the fundamentals. And you are still prone to injury if you know the fundamentals, but you don't apply them. Final myth, and this is maybe not a very satisfying answer for you. There are a couple of camps that say there's only one way to do it. So here I am telling you no. There's multiple ways to do a snatch, and there's multiple ways to do a Turkish Get Up. And matter of fact, with the Turkish Get Up, I'm going to show you my reimagined version of the Get Up that I now use with light, moderate, as well as heavy weights. And I really like it and enjoy it that way. So let's learn the snatch phases first. We have a couple of phases, and you might want to screenshot this. So with phase number 1, we start in the backswing, and what you see me demonstrate right here is I have a so-called backhand where my thumb is pointing backwards. You can of course do this with a front hand where the thumb is pointing up. So as soon as my arm fully connects with my body, I engage into phase number 2, and that is hip drive. So how do I accelerate from my hips? I'm pushing my hips, I'm pushing my knees forward, and then I push my hips forward. This incorporates the so-called pendulum leg action. A complicated word, but it's not as hard to do or not as hard to execute once you understand the basics. Then we have phase number 3. We have an acceleration pull that's happening approximately on chest level, and then we start leaning back a little bit. Why do I lean back? Because I want to decrease the distance from the bell to my center of mass. Hence, I'm using my body to close that distance, and I'm using my body as a lever. So then the hand insertion happens approximately on overhead at shoulder level. So this is where I jump into the so-called hook grip, where the kettlebell lands right here, approximately here. This is the handle down here. Phase number 5, I stop the bell in the overhead top fixation, and that's something that you're going to learn because you need a lot of hip drive, you need a lot of momentum, and you have to have a loose arm. But once the kettlebell lands overhead in the top fixation, you have to really tense your arm and break that momentum. Maybe you've experienced this. You swing it up, you almost do a backflip because there's so much momentum going, and you have to really stop it in place and then fix the kettlebell. That's why it's called fixation. You want to fixate the kettlebell overhead. Number 6 is the so-called corkscrew initiation. So what I do is, once the kettlebell's overhead, is the only thing that I do to start the amortization phase where the kettlebell drops is I just turn my palm towards me, and then it looks a little bit something like this. You could also call it a light bulb screwing or whatever have you, just something that you can memorize. I just call it the corkscrew. So boom, the palm faces towards me. Now the kettlebell travels around my forearm. So what happens? Gravity sets in. So number 7 happens. I lean back a little bit. I switch the grip from the hook grip into the finger, so I have to jump back, and then approximately on hip level, I engage fully into this amortization phase, and then number 9 is the backswing. With heavier weights, I lean back a little bit more. With lighter weights, I don't lean as far back as I would do with a heavyweight. I came up with this phrase that you might want to screenshot or you might want to write it down as well. I call it the hips lead, the arm heaves. So now let's jump into the get up phases. There's 20 of them. We have phase number 1. You might have to zoom a little bit. We have phase number 1 on the left side, upper left side of your left hand corner. This is a setup. So I grab the kettlebell. Phase number 2 is I have my ground set up. So I'm laying on my back. Phase number 3 is the chest press. So now I have the setup. You don't see it on the picture. My left arm has contact with the floor. Don't worry, we're going to jump into the demo real quick. And then I press the kettlebell overhead. I'm moving my whole body weight to my left elbow. I call this the half sit-up. And then, once I'm in that half sit-up position, I go into the full sit-up. This is phase number 5. Phase number 6 is the hip bridge. So once I'm down in the position, I have to lift my hips up. And then I have to pull my leg in. We call it the leg sweep. This is phase number 7. Phase number 8, we call this the half kneeling open position. This is a position that's not easy to hold, but you have to get used to it. Now, phase number 9, in this case, I do the front leg turn. I'm going to show you all the different moves that you can do in the get up in a second. And then I stand up. So I'm overhead, stand up, shoulder width stance. And now I have to go back down. I go into a reverse lunge with my left leg. I do the front leg turn with my right leg back. That's phase 12. Phase 13 is this windmill. So I have to go down, look for the floor, facing the kettlebell. Then I go into the leg sweep again because the leg that's behind me, I got to put it to the front. Then I go down on my hips. I'm back in that sit-up position. I go down on my elbow. That's phase 16. That's the half sit-up position. Now I have to return to the ground. In order to return to the ground, I have to press my right leg, in that case, my right foot really into the floor, using my hips and my legs, and then I slowly return down to the back on the floor. While lying down on the floor, don't make this mistake. Keep the arms extended. So you go down on your back, you're keeping the arm extended. That's why I call it a phase. That's phase 18. With phase 19, you drop the bell, and with phase 20, you go back into the fetal position. So now, demoing the snatch. Remember those phases, right? Let's jump to the phases. And now, if you want to do it with me, that's why I call it a follow-along seminar. You make sure you have nothing that's in close proximity. We now just do these phases and go through them one by one. Watch me and try to follow me. We have a shoulder width stance. You imagine that the kettlebell is approximately half a meter in front of you. We grab it. Now let's go through these phases. Backswing, boom. Connect your full arm to your body. Hip drive, now you push your hips forward. Now the kettlebell starts flying. Acceleration phase where we pull the kettlebell up. And right before it's overhead, hand insertion is happening. This is a crucial part. And then I'm really spearing the kettlebell in the top fixation. Once we are in the top fixation, I have to drop the kettlebell, bring it back down. Remember the corkscrew? I'm turning the palm towards me. Now, the kettlebell travels around my forearm, initiating or telling gravity, hey, here I am, pull me down. Now, what do I have to do? I unlock the elbow a little bit, and now I'm leaning back, and I let gravity do its thing. And from this moment, I want to switch from this hook grip into the finger grip, let the kettlebell travel. Now I have this full amortization going on. Now I keep, as soon as I unlock the elbow in this position, I extend it, leaning back and going back into the backswing. And now watch my knees. What I do, this is crucial to understand. We call this the pendulum leg action. I drop the weight. Boom. Catching it with my quads. Extending my knees, bending the hip. Coming back up by really extending my left leg. And now I'm a little bit on my right leg on my foot and bringing the bell back up. We call this the foot kick technique. The hand insertion is where we switch the grip from the finger grip, where I grab the handle with my fingers. And then I am not grinding the handle, but I let loose, jump inside of it. Now I'm inside the window. My web space, this is this thing right here, connects with the upper arch of the handle. I slide my whole wrist inside the window. And the lower part of the handle, the lower arch, connects with my forearm. And this is where the kettlebell resides once it's overhead in the top fixation. Watch this with a 16. Now, remember when I told you that there's only one way to do it? No, there's not. There's not. So you might be thinking, well, this looks way different than I was taught if you come from the hardstyle world, for example. And hardstyle, the difference is they're goosenecking the kettlebell, so there's no corkscrew happening, but they flip it over. There's no pendulum leg action, but there's just a deadlift going on. And there's way more tension involved. Looks a little bit something like this. But now let's check out the modern variant where we are using way more so-called lever mechanics. Watch this. So here we go. There's only one way to do it. I highly doubt it. Now with the Turkish Get Up, you really want to make sure that you even have more space around you that's clear, nothing in close proximity. And now imagine we have the kettlebell that's lying next to me. In my case, it's on my left side. I am on my back. Now I turn my whole body to the left side. And what I want to do is, with this imaginary kettlebell, I hook grip it, pull it close to my body, and now I'm back on the floor. Here's what I want to show you. I put my leg fairly outside. The leg that's extended, I push it out to the side as well. So now the right hand has contact with the floor. Now I press the weight up. People try to get up like this, like you would do a crunch. This is a cardinal mistake because you have to shift your body weight to the side. So I'm shifting my whole body weight through my left foot that has contact with the floor. I'm pushing it. You can see I'm really exaggerating now. Pushing my whole body weight to my right elbow. So now I'm on my right elbow and my left arm's extended in the air. Now I'm in that half sit-up position, if you remember from the phases. Now I pull my right hand close to my body. Now I'm in that sit-up position. So here it is crucial. What do I have to do? I have to push the hips up into a hip bridge, but I don't have to exaggerate it. I see people do this. I don't think you have to do this. I'm just pushing my hips up in order for me to have enough space to pull my leg behind me. Now here's a crucial mistake that many people do is they pull their knees back and now they're like, hey, why is this not working? It's not just pulling your shin back and bending your knee. It's also rotating your hip. Watch as I'm going in super slow motion. Hips up, legs coming in. Now watch what I do with my hip. Then I come up in this, if you remember, the half kneeling open position. And what we have seen in the Get Up is I turn around, then I stand up. Boom. Now how do I work with the reverse lunge? I make sure that my foot, my toe, connects with the floor. Because if my whole foot connects with the floor, I'm shifting body weight again. I don't want to do this. And think about you're standing on tracks. So I stand on tracks. Boom. See this? I'm on my toes now. Arms still extended. Now I place my knee down to the floor. Front leg turn. Back into the half kneeling open position. Remember from the phases, the windmill's coming. So now I have to engage in the side hinge. But my chest is not facing to the floor. But now I rotate my spine so that my chest is facing you. Going a little bit forward. Here comes the leg sweep motion again. To the front. Hips down. Elbows down. And now here comes my leading leg again. I'm pushing the floor away like you would do a heavy deadlift. I'm pushing the floor away. And now I can go down very slowly. If we go down from this position, to place the leg out and make sure, if my hip allows it, to stay out here. If you have your foot close to your other leg, watch what happens. You fall down. And if the weight gets heavier, your drop will even be harder. So how can we remedy this? Out with the foot. Now I have a stabilizing leg that's aiding me on my way down. Arm goes down. And then fetal position, dropping the weight to save and protect my shoulder. And then what I always do when I work with heavy weights is I go back up and I rest on my back. Turning around for better demonstration purposes. So remember this myth again. There's only one way to do it. I highly doubt there is. Watch what I do right now. Going a little bit faster. Half kneeling open position. Instead of rotating the front leg, I rotate the back leg. Stand back up. Okay? On the way down, boom, boom. Okay? Now, I mixed the best of both worlds and I call it the reimagined Turkish Get Up. I'm putting my knee back down and I rotate it behind me. I feel like I'm screwing my kneecap into the floor. Now you might be thinking, well, you just use the front leg turn. But here comes another problem. If I use the front leg turn, what I experience is some instability if I use heavy weights. So how did I remedy this? By doing a curtsy lunge. Watch this. Curtsy lunge. And just in case you're wondering, well, why not just go down like this? It might be troublesome for your lower back. And now here comes one more thing, which needs a little practice, but I still think it's even more valuable if you understand it. You come back up. Now watch what I do. From this position, a lot of people have trouble with the half kneeling open position. So I combine or I melt the half kneeling open position with this leg turn. Watch what I do. I shift my whole body weight away from my knees. Now it's on my hips. And whoom. This allows me to rotate my back leg without this screwing my kneecap down into the floor thing. And the final variant that I choose is I start overhead with light to moderate weights. I don't start overhead with heavy weight. Oh, here we have the snatch. Nice one.
If you're looking for kettlebell courses that can help you lose weight, build muscle, and improve your kettlebell technique, then check out the Leberstock Academy. Let us help you discover a new perspective on kettlebell training, making it simple and easy for you to understand. Join the waiting list of your desired course now and secure your spot when it's open for enrollment. Link is in the description.